This is a little insight that I'm going to be doing here. You could call it personal opinion based upon various sources of data outside of myself and my own research. So, being an opinion, opinions are like holes. Everybody's got one, but it doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what any of you think. What we have to keep in mind is what are the yahoos who are in control doing this? What do they think? And this subject gets down to peak oil. Now, if the oil industry and the politicians all seem to think we're on the downslope, and back in 1970, when we had the first one with OPEC raising the prices and everything, I believe that was in 73, the gas lines. I'm getting old, so the years shift a little bit in my mind. If they believe that this resource to run their war machines is coming on the downslope, and there's no hope for massive fines anymore. I would like for you to go to my playlist, Is It Real? And towards the end of them, there are 6 videos, I believe, from this gentleman who has a PhD in mathematics, and he uses the figures that are put out for public consumption as far as usage, how many barrels a day, versus how many barrels of reserves we are told that we have. So, and given those numbers that he has, if if the majority of the people that are in the position to be making these decisions about drilling for wells and uh, ergo the war is also about safeguarding resources in countries that aren't ours, would it not be likely and actually intelligent to come to the conclusion that, okay, maybe the reasons why we're seeing these wars and the reckless abandon in which the wells are being drilled and the ecological disasters that happen as a result of such, could it not be because they're in a panic? Because they're wanting to uh, safeguard what there is that's available? That would sure make sense as far as all the shortcuts that were done with the BP rig, now wouldn't it? In a mad rush to get what's there. And this gentleman, this professor, in the Is This Real playlist, he goes over the numbers and shows that all of the reserves in the Gulf, it wouldn't last a year at all based upon our consumption. I don't know how many of you live by freeways or highways, but sometimes just look at the amount of traffic that's out there. How many billions of gallons do we go through on a single day? And then you have to think outside of our country also. You have to think about all these China, India, all these other countries that are emerging as economic powerhouses. They're wanting this resource too. So there's further depletion through those countries. I really think people we need to have some intelligent people getting on to the hydrogen motor that has been developed before. Bud Myers is a good example of that. And even just this past year, there was a Japanese auto manufacturer who had developed a hydrogen powered car from water. And then we've got this welder. There's videos of this guy here on YouTube where he pours water into his welding machine, separates it, and he heats his torch up with it. Now he can take that torch, hold it to his hand, and not burn himself. But yet he can put it on a brass ball and that thing gets cherry red in seconds. There's a and there was another gentleman who had sent me a message or a comment on one of my videos, and I'm sorry I don't have your name right now. I'm in a hurry trying to play catch up here. But he talks about Tesla. Well, I've researched Tesla for quite some time. I'm actually very fascinated by all the work he did. I follow it very closely and it makes sense to me. Everything that I've been able to find as far as his patents, it doesn't matter if they're complete or not. I don't need a complete patent. If you've got knowledge of electronics and the physics of energy, you can fill in those few little gaps that aren't shown in the patents. Yeah, people, I really think we need to be crunch comes to shove. We need to develop alternative sources of energy because what's going to happen when we don't have any oil or uh, even coal? Eventually that's going to run out. There's a good movie out, The City That Was. That's Centralia, Pennsylvania. It's still burning over 40 years later from coal, lutein, uh, lutenmide. I'm sorry, I don't have it written down, so I'm not pronouncing it right. But it's a type of coal, and it's still burning. All right, so what happens? Our society, every aspect of it, rotates around power, electricity, gasoline, all everything that is derived for energy from fossil fuels. What happens when there is none? How is society going to cope then? Don't you think it would be expeditious of all of us to start thinking about alternative ways of getting things done? That's just what I want to put out there. And yes, I will grant this. Yes, it's probably likely that this thing with the BP rig happened. As we know, Halliburton was just there prior to it, and not only the fact that they were there doing maintenance, but also that they bought up the world's what I believe is second largest oil spill outfit in the world. How convenient. Let's not forget the stocks being sold on Wall Street. So yeah, there's collusion there. There's something that was going on. And it's possible that this was being done to push the cap and trade through. But aside from the cap and trade, I think it's something that turned around and bit them on their asses. It got away from them. That's why when this first started happening, and I went and I got that geological report of the structure of the seafloor around that area, because I wanted everybody to understand what that strata is. It's sandstone, limestone, claystone, and all of that's very brittle. And you're looking at up to maximum of 100 pounds per square inch. I got that structure, that rock formation won't hold up to that. So even if they get down and they do these relief wells, the same thing they did in 1979, by the way, we had another oil spill just like this back then. If you write me a message and you don't have that, I'll be glad to provide you the information for that. And every technique that they're using now, they tried back then and they knew it wouldn't work. And this is the reason why they will not let those oil eating microbes loose. They don't want to lose access to that oil. That's main in my mind why it's been done. But also, could it be, would the oil microbes be able to live under that condition of atmospheric pressure? Good thoughts. But I just want you to know, yeah, it is cap and trade that this was initially done for. Another way to make